and welcome to Halton News right here on your TV. It's Tuesday, June 2nd, and I'm Jessica Kading. We have our local COVID-19 report up next, but first we thought you should all be aware that Environment Canada has issued a severe thunderstorm watch for the entire Halton region this evening. There's potential for wind gusts up to 100 kilometers per hour, and large property-damaging hail could develop, as well as brief torrential downpours and lightning. Further to this, there's also the risk of an isolated tornado. These storms are expected to be localized, and some areas will not be affected at all. The threat will end by midnight. Looking now at our local COVID-19 report, the region has reported 4 additional confirmed cases in Halton since yesterday. Breaking it down by region, the active column includes both confirmed and probable cases. Burlington's still reporting the least in the region at 12, Oakville the most at 34, followed by Milton at 30 confirmed and probable cases. Halton Hills is reporting 14. 608 residents who previously had COVID-19 have recovered, and 25 have unfortunately passed away. While the weather's not looking good this evening, this afternoon was surprisingly sunny after a cloudy start. But despite all this beautiful weather we've been receiving lately, Burlington MP Karina Gould reminds us the importance of continuing to practice social distancing.
I mean, look, the weather's getting better. We're all getting a little bit of cabin fever. It's normal to want to, see your friends and see your family and to socialize. We are social creatures. But I really have to ask everyone to keep practicing physical distancing as much as possible. I know that we've entered phase 1 here in Ontario, so there's more things that we can do, more places we can go. We can sit on park benches. These are all good things, and we want to keep being able to do them, and we actually want to move into phase 2 sooner rather than later. But the only way that we're going to do that is if we keep practicing the advice of public health, which is not gather in groups of more than 5, maintain our physical distancing. If you're gonna walk by a friend's house or pop over, try to stay 2 meters apart, as much as you can. And if you're not able to, please wear a non-medical mask. And we also want to just, really remind everyone that a non-medical mask is not in lieu of physical distancing. It's only when you can't physically distance. And so we just have to keep practicing these really, really good behaviors that we've done so well at over the last 3 months, because we don't want to see all of this hard work and hardship that we've gone through, go out the window. So I just implore everyone, I know it's really, really hard, but just to try to keep your distance as much as you can, to engage virtually. And if you're going to see someone in person, just keep your distance, so that we can all stay safe and that we can move into the next phase of opening our economy.
Mayor Marianne Meed Ward has been keeping us abreast of all the changes as they occur in Burlington. And in this next clip, she gives us a heads up about what will be discussed in their special council meeting tomorrow.
We're actually planning this week to have a special council meeting on Wednesday, so stay tuned for that. We are looking at the possibility, the cost, what it would look like to open washrooms in some of our parks. That would, of course, allow people to stay longer in some of our parks, have picnics, which they really haven't been able to do because the washrooms and other amenities have been closed. So as part of our whole reopening, phased reopening strategy, council is going to get an update on what that would look like and the additional costs, and they're quite substantial. So we want to have a conversation publicly and with our community and with each other about how to proceed on that one. So that's Wednesday. Stay tuned for that.
Okay, great. COVID-19 has affected many aspects of daily life, especially with us having to abide by these new social distancing regulations. But Halton Police are giving us an A for following the rules for the most part. Melissa Candelaria is standing by with more on this and details on how traffic has been. Melissa?
Well, thanks, Jess. And I have to say that a lot of people are adhering to the social distancing laws. People are getting better at it. And that's according to Halton Police. I spoke with Constable Ryan Anderson earlier today, who says it's just now become natural.
I think you're right when you say it's become a habit. I know even myself, it's almost hard to imagine a point where, this is over and we're comfortable not social distancing. It's become such a part of our daily routine. But yeah, we certainly and I think it is also dependent on the weather. Over the weekend, we only had about 83 calls into our COVID hotline. As a police service, we didn't issue any provincial offenses. for any violations under those acts. But I think you're right. When you're out in the community, you see people are just naturally social distancing. Most people are wearing masks, and I think people have become pretty comfortable with the new norm, at least for now.
To me, the most interesting part in all of this, Jessica, is the amount of traffic collisions and the stats around that. Constable Anderson says they've actually gone down since the pandemic began.
I can tell you from April and May of 2020 versus April and May of 2019, collisions in the region were down 70%. So it just a quick example of how much less people are on the road. So we've had 70% less accidents over the last 2 months than we had in the last year. So the roads are just one example of how things have changed immensely during this pandemic.
So there you have it, Jessica. One of the many silver linings to all of this since the COVID-19 began is that the roads are safer. With that, I'll throw it back to you.
The crisis in our long-term care homes has shocked us all. While it remains provincial jurisdiction, MP Pam Damoff sees a need for a Canada-wide review.
There's been a great deal of concern expressed about the impact of the COVID virus in long-term care facilities. And are there any comments you'd like to make regarding the future of long-term care in Ontario and Canada?
Well, I mean, John, I think all of us share the horror of reading the reports that the military put out. I wrote something myself about it. I had actually written to the Minister of Seniors, Deb Schultz, back at the end of April to say we need a national review. Now, as you know, long-term care falls under the provincial government, but I as we were talking earlier about cooperation, this is something that requires all levels of government working together, and that includes local government. Not all long care homes are run poorly, but we need to have standards. We need to make sure we're investing enough money into long-term care. And I think we require, in fact, Effie and I have already talked about this, trying to see how we can work together to come up with some recommendations on how we can deal with this going forward, because our seniors deserve to be living in dignity and with respect. And we should not be having soldiers working in long-term care. It's just something that requires all of us, and it requires Canadians to put the backing behind government to make the changes and invest the money that we need to make.
That episode of The Issue airs tonight at 8 o'clock. Tune in to watch the full half hour. Applications are now available for submission to the 2020 Milton Community Fund program. The Milton Community Fund supports not-for-profit organizations whose initiatives add to the quality of life within the community or enhance the image of Milton. Organizations that provide artistic, cultural, and recreational programs and services that benefit the community will be given funding priority. There's approximately $269,000 available for distribution via cash grants for the 2020 program. Applications will be accepted until September 14th. To review those application guidelines and access the application forms, visit milton.ca/communityfund. The OFFA Festival is just around the corner. This celebration of film and art will be digital this year due to COVID-19, but the good news is there are actually more films this year than ever before. The festival will host 10 events in 3-hour blocks and still offer Q&A periods afterwards with the filmmakers. I spoke with Wendy Donnan for the Inside Scoop.
We have 3 short film screenings, different types of screenings. So we opened the festival this year. I'm really excited about our local short film festival, which is all local filmmakers who either live in the area, went to Sheridan, so became a local short filmmaker for a time, or actually are from local communities, Hamilton, Burlington, Mississauga, and there's all kinds of different films in there. We have documentary, we have experimental, we have horror, we have animation, comedy, drama. So all of these different genres in the Short Film Festival, and almost all of the filmmakers are going to be on for the Q&A. So it's really exciting to open the festival on Wednesday, the 17th. We have Shorts for All Sorts, which is the global international festival. It's also got some Canadian films, but that one will be exciting to close the festival because you'll have filmmakers on there from all around the world talking about their work. And it's really interesting to see some of the differences in filmmaking and how filmmakers work their craft in different countries. And then we have the Family Fun Short Festival, which is really interesting. And again, all genres represented, tons of world premieres from Sheridan Animation. So the students from Sheridan Animated Films, we have, I think, 15 short films, all animated. They're just marvelous. And a lot of those are in the family fun block, and some are in the other blocks. And really interesting screening as well. We have The Great Disconnect is a Canadian premiere for us. And what I find really interesting about this screening is that in the middle of all this film is about how social media causes us to be isolated. And the irony is that, you know, we are isolated and all we have right now is social media. So it's a really interesting Q&A. The discussion is fascinating around it. The film is excellent. And we have some short films also. One of them is Once Upon a Pandemic, which is about being in isolation. And what do you do when you're stuck at home with your family and you're in the middle of all this? So yeah, lots of really great stuff.
Thanks for staying with us. We do need to take a short break. We'll be back with the details of Max's big ride for 2020, plus our local weather forecast is up next. Welcome back to Halton News. It's that time of year again. Time for Max's big ride. This year marks the 6th annual event for Duchenne muscular dystrophy, and although COVID-19 restrictions are affecting the ride how it's traditionally done, the ride will still go on, and you're invited to get involved.
Max's Big Ride is a cargo bike ride. So a cargo bike, for those who don't know, it's a Dutch-style bike that has a large wooden box in the front. So people in Holland often use them to take their kids around in the school. So it's a cargo bike ride, 600 kilometers between Hamilton and Ottawa. My son and I have done it for the past 5 years, and it's to raise money and awareness to hopefully find a cure for Duchenne muscular dystrophy.
And can you explain what muscular dystrophy is and the connection that you have with it?
Yeah, sure. Well, Duchenne muscular dystrophy, it's a muscle wasting disease. It's degenerative. Typically, mainly affects boys. A very small percentage of the people that have it are girls. And those boys that are affected typically lose mobility and end up in a wheelchair around 12 or 13. Max is currently 9 and still able to get around a bit. But, you know, you lose your mobility first. And looking at a life expectancy in late 20s or early 30s, it starts to attack all the muscles in the body. First, you know, you lose the ability to walk, and then use your arms, and then it affects the lungs and the heart. So it's a horrible way to, you know, horrible disease to have. And unfortunately, it's something that Max has, but we're not sitting back and taking it. We're going to fight, and we're working with some amazing researchers to hopefully find a cure.
And this is something that you've been doing together year after year now, but this year, of course, with COVID-19, things had to change a little bit. How did you pivot and make this change this year?
Yeah, sure. Well, when the pandemic, you know, hit the shores of Canada, I think like everybody, we were reeling and we weren't really sure what to do. You know, we normally set off every June on Max's Big Ride, and that wasn't possible. People with Duchenne are often taking steroids. That's something that can, you know, compromises their immune system. So we couldn't risk, you know, in any situation really, Max, you know, even really leaving the home for long periods of time. So first we thought, well, you know, how can we do the ride? But very quickly we thought we can't let this beat us. We can't, you know, be defeated. We have to adapt and show that we can, you know, still fight Duchenne, but just do it in a different way. So we have the cargo bike that we normally ride. We found a special bicycle trainer that hooks up to its rear wheel. And that plugs into our computer, which then plugs into a cycling app called Zwift, and it allows us to ride in the virtual world. So we do the same distance. Yesterday we did 80 kilometers, which was Hamilton to Toronto. And today we're virtually riding, I guess, Toronto to Oshawa. And it's really cool because you were able to ride with a friend in Australia. He gets up at 4 o'clock in the morning, or sorry, 6 o'clock in the morning, and rides with us at 4. So it's opened up some new avenues for us as well. You know, but I think the important thing was just not to give up and continue the fight and make sure this is the 6th annual Max's Big Ride.
Well, we're all here cheering Max on, and of course, you and your daughter are involved as well. And for those who do want to help and get involved, what can we do?
Yeah, sure. I mean, the big thing is please check us out on social media. We're Max's Big Ride on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Also, our website is www.maxsbigride.com. People could check out those sources. You know, link any likes or shares or comments are really uplifting when you're exhausted and you get off the bike at the end of the ride. And also for those who, you know, have the means to, we're certainly looking for donations. 100% of donations go to the University of Toronto, to the Gunning Group lab there, and it all goes to research, so hopefully to find a cure. They've been working on this for the past 3 years, and they've had some really promising results that they're excited about. And so if people are able, donations are great, but otherwise, just thumbs up or just to say that, cheering us on, it really, helps us.
Thank you so much. We're certainly cheering you on, and we hope to raise more awareness and bring more people to your website. Thank you so much for being here with us today.
Yeah, thanks so much for the coverage. I appreciate it.
Taking a look out at Oakville Harbor today was beautiful, but as mentioned earlier, a severe thunderstorm warning has been issued for our region. Thunder, lightning, and hail, high winds, and there's also the potential for an isolated tornado. This warning ends at midnight, but tomorrow's not looking so great either. That's 26 degrees with the potential of those lightning and thunderstorms continuing, but the warning will be lifted. Looking into Thursday, full sunshine, 28 degrees. Enjoy that because the clouds roll back in for Friday. It's a bit of a mixed bag this week, 29 degrees as our high. And then looking into the weekend, gorgeous sunshine, 23 and 21 degrees will be our high. The Oakville Chamber of Commerce would like to talk about managing our mental health. They're hosting Dr. Ian Daw, the Program Chief and Medical Director, Mental Health with Trillium Health Partners, for a discussion on flattening the other curve, dealing with the looming mental health crisis. You can watch live on the Chamber's Facebook page or join the Zoom conference by registering at oakvillechamber.com. And now a look to how the markets closed out today. Global Running Day is coming up. Stay tuned for those details. We'll be right back. Welcome back to Halton News right here on your TV. Wednesday is Global Running Day, and organizations across Canada, including around the Bay, have come together to create one massive running event in celebration. Melissa Candelaria with more.
It's called Canada Moves Across the Country, and Around the Bay Road Race have joined other race organizations to encourage people to get out and move. Race director Anna Lewis says this free event is a demonstration of Canadians collaborating.
Basically, we wanted you to go at any time on Global Running Day, which is June the 3rd. And you can start in the morning, you can start in the afternoon. So what we want to do is register you on a race roster so that we can calculate the kilometers, and you pledge how much you're going to run or walk or move that day. And so if you put 10 kilometers, we're going to add what you do to my 5 kilometers to somebody else's 2 kilometers, and we're just going to add them up together. And you can do whatever movement that you choose to do. And it starts, we're going to have a live broadcast on Facebook with commentary, personal stories, sharing running experiences and walking experiences, movement experiences.
Now, because most running events have been canceled for the year, Lewis says this is one way to come together and stay active, as it helps with mental health.
And it's really helpful in your personal mental health. I know that for me, it's really helpful being with the kids 24/7, trying to work, managing a household. But this event also supports the Canadian Mental Health Association. And although exercise and physical activity works for many of us, there are things that can go beyond that the Canadian Mental Health Association can help with resources and expertise. And so we want to support people that need to apply those resources.
And there are many Halton residents who've signed up already for the Global Running Day, and this includes Milton's very own MP, Adam Van Koeverden, who says he's excited to take part.
Milton is a running community. We've got various running clubs. We've got a run for Milton that usually takes place every summer. I don't think we're going to have it this summer, unfortunately, but we want to encourage people to be as physically active as possible. And Saturday is actually National Health and Fitness Day, which is June 6th. So it lines up well. It's the beginning of the summer season. We're starting to enter that new phase of getting out of the COVID kind of lockdown. I hate calling it a lockdown, but we can get outside. We can use our parks. Conservation Halton is opening back up for reservations. So I'm encouraging people to get outside and be more physically active. Not everybody's a runner, and that's totally fine. Wednesday, June 3rd is the Global Running Day. So we're going to celebrate that, and I'll go for a run. I set myself a goal for May to try to run 100 miles, just 160 kilometers. And if I do my last 2 runs this week, then I'll get there, and then I can celebrate in early June with a couple more runs.
So I'm ready to go start my training for tomorrow's event, and you still have time to sign up. All you have to do is go to raceroster.com, search Global Running Day Canada, and register from there. I'm going to start my training now. Reporting for Halton News, I'm Melissa Candelaria. Bye.
And for those of you trivia lovers, you should book this Thursday night in your calendar. At 7 p.m., you can test your knowledge on throwback TV shows, films, and pop culture moments from the early 2000s. This is a Brookside Chocolate event, and winners will be paid via surprise gift bags mailed to their homes. Even better, for each RSVP, Brookside Chocolate will donate $15 to Food Banks Canada. For more information, visit brooksidechocolatetrivia.ca. Senior Centers Without Walls program is set to launch a free and interactive telephone-based initiative. It started actually yesterday to connect ages 50 plus. You don't need to be a member of Oakville Senior Services to participate. No special equipment is needed. All you need is your telephone. To register, go to scww@oakville.ca, send them an email, and they'll sign you right up. The Eden Mills Writers Festival is presenting their In Your Own Backyard series online starting June 11th at 8 p.m. You can join the host, Karma Brown, who's a journalist and best-selling author of Recipe for a Perfect Wife, as she leads the discussion with the authors of 3 books. They include Rachel Matlow of Dead Mom Walking, Michelle Parise of Alone, A Love Story, and Allison Waring of Moments of Glad Grace. The event will include closed captioning. To register for that, visit EdenMillsWritersFestival.ca and click on the 2020 online series. All the featured books will be available at bookshelf.ca. Taking a look now at our schedules, if you're in the Burlington and Oakville market, we have Inspiring Youth tonight with Bruce Outridge. James Burchill brings us Smart Car Coffee Confidential at 7:30, and then at 8 you can tune in to that new episode of The Issue that we previewed earlier with MP Pam Damoff. That is at 8:30. Kathy Thompson will bring you Beyond the Classroom. For those of you watching in Milton and Halton Hills, we have Local Matters with Councillor Mike Cluett tonight at 7 o'clock. Gaming Now follows with Spencer at 7:30, and Actin' Up with Alex Hilson at 8 p.m. Kathy Thompson then brings you Beyond the Classroom. That airs in both markets and starts at 8:30. We'd like to thank you for tuning in tonight. If you'd like to see more, please visit us online at yourtv.tv. We're also on social media. You can find us at YourTV Halton on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. If you have any questions, comments, or story ideas, we'd love to hear from you. You can email us at haltonnews@cogeco.com. For Halton News, I thank you for watching. I'm Jessica Kading, and we'll be live again tomorrow night at 5:30.